You are listening to 600 Second Saga. Today's feature is Between the Particles by J.W. Troemner. I don't like untethering myself from the timeline. It's painful dissolving myself down past the molecules, the atoms, the strings, the God particles that make me semi-divine. Every minute I go back is grueling. I can feel time like sandpaper against my consciousness. It isn't a skill I use often. It saved me from a stray bullet once or twice when a case got ugly. But without the imminent threat of death, it's too exhausting to be practical. Better to let quick thinking and conversation get me out of tricky situations. Unlike bullets, people can be reasoned with. But viruses can't. And right now, that's what's burning its way through Alex's system. It's a designer disease, manufactured in some military lab with too many aspirations and too little security. Somebody stole it, and we were assigned to retrieve it. Only, they never told us what was inside the case. Maybe if they had, Alex would have been more careful. Maybe it wouldn't have shattered. Maybe he wouldn't have touched the broken pieces with his bare hands. Maybe he wouldn't be dying right now in an isolation chamber. That was days ago, before Alex started manifesting symptoms. Before those symptoms got bad enough that Alex let me take him to the hospital. Before the news feed started reporting quarantine zones and started throwing around words like plague. I can't help being terrified. I've never gone back more than an hour, and that took so much out of me that I barely came back at all. A part of me wants to stay here in the timeline where it's safe, and leave the plague in the capable hands of well-funded organizations full of scientists who know what they're doing. I don't have to get involved. But no matter how brilliant they are, there's one person they can't save. Right now, that's the one person who matters. Security at the hospital has tightened since the quarantine began, meant for panicked citizens and curious rubberneckers. When I step inside in full uniform and flash a badge, the guards at Alex's room step aside without a second glance. They don't see me slipping inside the oxygen tent. My partner's eyes flutter open. He's too weak to sit up, but he tries. "Wait," he rasps. "What are you?" His whole body folds with the violence of his coughs, and I remember exactly what is happening to his lungs. When the fit ends, blood is sprinkled across the bedsheet. "You shouldn't be here." "It's all right, Alex," I murmur, stroking a hand down his back. "It's all right. I won't be here much longer." The little color left in his face drains away. "Are you sick? Jesus, did I—" He's interrupted by another hacking cough, and I wrap my arms around him. "No," I whisper, once the coughs have subsided and Alex is gasping in my arms. "No, I'm all right, and I'm going to fix this. I swear I will." "It's too late," Alex rasps. "The plague, it's already out of control." "I know." I lean in and kiss his forehead. "That's why I have to do this." "Do what?" There's panic in his eyes. "What are you doing?" "It's all right," I repeat at a whisper. "Everything's going to be all right." I press my lips to Alex's one more time, and then I let it happen. The world shifts with my perspective. The man that is Agent Alex Lee stops being a whole and becomes a conglomeration of organs, made up of molecules, made up of atoms, made up of subatomic particles, until he's a weave of trembling strings. The harsh light of the room becomes a series of waves that are particles that are waves. The fabric of space-time stretches out before me like a canvas, dipping and stretching around every cluster of mass. The pieces of myself dissolve into their barest components, just small enough that I can swim against the flow of time. My consciousness unspools, spreading across the universe before I can gather it up and keep going. The universe is expanding, the Milky Way shooting across it at breakneck speed, its arms spiraling as it twirls. In one of its lesser arms, the solar system shoots across the void like a bullet. Its planets and comets and satellites whirling around and around its yellow sun, and a little ball of clay, called Earth, is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. It's all moving so fast, and I can barely take it in. I'm losing my grasp on myself, on here and now, and why it even matters. A single word echoes across my awareness, but it repeats so often that it doesn't make any sense, just sounds that don't do any justice to the feeling behind them. Alex. 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 All of reality is meaningless entropy, and I am beyond any sense of self. But that feeling steers me. It's the only reason why I take the time and effort to find that particular cluster of particles among all the rest. It's the only reason why I take the pain to reform at all. One name, too absurdly small for the miracle it contains. I find my own cluster of particles, and I fold my present consciousness in with the old. It only takes an instant, but it feels like an eternity. My legs fold under me, and I gasp in shock and pain as I remember what senses feel like. The other cluster, particles, atoms, molecules, organs, person, Alex is at my side in an instant, catching me and easing me to the floor. His eyes are wide. Vibrations distill into sound and syllables, and I realize I can hear again. That meaningless word on his lips is my name. My name. I have a name. I raise my hand to touch his face, but the motion is uncoordinated. My past and future selves are too distinct, still too unevenly mixed to sit properly. In time they'll meld into each other, blending into a seamless whole. The memories of a time that no longer exists will fade into nothingness until they're little more than a dream. But for now at least, I remember. The case, the virus, the plague, the hospital room with the man I love dying inside it. I'll hold on to that memory for as long as it takes to save him. This was Between the Particles by J.W. Troemner. J.W. Troemner was born in Germany and emigrated to the United States. Since then, she spent most of her life orbiting around Indianapolis, where she can often be found gazing longingly at caverns and abandoned buildings. Her works include the Urban Dragons series, and more recently a love letter to fairy tales by the name of Tatter and Shine. Find more at her website, jwtroemner.com, or find her on Facebook or Twitter. Check our show notes for links. Music is provided by Mads. Learn more about 600 Second Saga, our authors, how to submit your flash fiction, and how to support the podcast in the show notes. This has been Mariah Avix and 600 Second Saga.